Central Coast, CC 130, got that message, Central Coast out.
Well, welcome viewers, let's go do it. Afternoon paddle. We're going to talk about the victim, the aging narcissist and the victim mentality. The aging narcissist and the victim mentality. Let's see how we go. The aging narcissist and the victim mentality. I think we'll paddle into the sun, so we'll go left across. Oh no, we'll have to paddle downwind and then upwind. Oh no, we should be right. We'll go left and then right. Set the watch. We're on. Well, thank you viewers for coming into Gosford this afternoon. It's supposed to be windy, or I was going to wing, but the wind didn't quite come in the way we expected. Just turn the radio down a bit in case they get on there. Jelly blubbers are still here. The flying monkeys. Thank you for coming in, viewers. You may be going through the hardship of a breakup. Now listen to what I'm about to tell you today. Too many of you have over-attached. You are not reading love correctly. You're not loving correctly. And what do I mean by that? Well, many of you are thinking that love never fails and all that. Love never fails if you navigate it properly. Okay? You've got to navigate it properly. If you start a relationship with somebody and they start to fail, then what happens? You're at the mercy then. Apparently your love fails when their love fails. No. Many of you have ended up traumatized, having the attitude that, and there's the sun for you all, if the partner that you're with fails, then you fail as well. Well, that's dependent. If you haven't presented yourself properly, if you haven't presented yourself in the way that you should have, and that person's just gone, I'm out, for legitimate reasons, then you've failed, okay? You've been unable to see where you could have improved, or you've done things that have upset the person for long enough and they're not going to take it anymore. That's a fail on your part. On the other hand, you might be in a relationship with somebody that is lying, constantly lying, wasting the money, not playing their part around the house, wanting sex when you are not prepared because you're not intimately aroused because of the behavior. You're being sexually abused. They're not playing their part correctly. Just trying to fix the equipment, sorry. And this causes trauma. Now, it also causes trauma if you wreck the relationship and lose it. It also causes trauma if they wreck the relationship and you lose it. It causes trauma when there's a triangulation. That could be an emotional affair. There's unresolved. The partner's now finding soothing and justification outside the relationship, even if they're wrong. A lot of people will do this. I'll just show you the jelly blubbers, how thick they are out here. A lot of people will do this to justify themselves. Whether they're wrong or right, that's usually what triangulation's for. Especially in the emotional affair realm. Triangulation can also involve friends of the partner interfering. Triangulation can also involve the parents. They don't like you. They begin to undermine who you are with the partner. Triangulation can involve children. They don't like who you are. And this can get vicious and hostile. There can be all these things put together. It can be all of the above. How are you going to compete with that? Well, you have to keep your wits about you. You will not cope with all the negative dynamics of a relationship if you haven't got your wits about you. It's not just about turning up and failing, turning up and failing. They're turning up and failing. There has to be, on a continual basis, resolve. There has to be resolve. There has to be resolve. There has to be resolve. There has to be. And it's resolve that reignites intimacy. Take for instance, the fridge breaks. You got a fridge and it breaks. And it gets fixed. And you save the food. That's resolve. Say there's a problem with lying in the relationship and the partner gets therapy or whatever and comes to the point where they don't lie anymore and you're thrilled, absolutely thrilled. I can trust my partner, everything's going to be all right. That's resolve. That's how resolve works. Your car breaks down, you got a flat tire. You're on the side of the highway. It gets fixed. I've gone out on the highways before to fix girlfriend's flat tires. That's resolve. Is that going to guarantee that the relationship's going to be all right? Not necessarily. But it is resolve, isn't it? That's resolve. Resolve is the ointment on the sores of the relationship. Resolve is the stitches in the wound. Resolve is the soul, the ointment on the sore. Resolve is the bandage over the wound. Without resolve, the end is inevitable. It'll be just a matter of time. And resolve is only as strong as the weakest person in the relationship. You have to understand resolve. It's not a choice. It's not an option. You have to understand resolve. Everything rises and falls on resolve. If somebody's being mean to you in your relationship, the woman or the man, and they're not fixing it, right, okay, detach. I'm not tolerating this crap off you. Who do you think you are? Detach. If a family member comes up against you, and the person that you're with doesn't hold their ground for you, detach. It's going to disintegrate anyway. DNA always wins when the partner doesn't resolve the problem. That's DNA attachment. A lot of these victim people, that's how they draw their attention. First they're predators. They get the dick out and the pussy out and try and captivate you with that. Once they feel as though they've done that, they switch into the victim. And that's how they hold you. They get you focusing on what life's done to them, how hard it's been, what life owes them, how that's going to happen, and subliminally they're getting you on board as the rescuer, which is a natural response to listening to someone who's a victim and that might be legit. They might be legit. The whole thing just might be legit. Oh yeah. The whole thing just might be legit. Now I'm going to turn the camera around and try something different. Yep. And, oh, no, you might not get voice. No, hang on, you might not get voice. No, you won't get voice if I do that. Bugger. Sorry, guys. Bit of an experiment going on here. And, yeah, of course, we want to help people in their troubles. But you've got to read whether the advertisement of these troubles is a way of venting, a means of feeling some soul, or if it's a manipulative effort to keep you around by way of sympathy. Oh, this is how subtle it all is. All right? This is how clever you've got to be. Because you want to stand by your partner, you want to be there for them. Can't tell you how many women I've gone to the hospital for, to support. All this stuff, fed them, all this stuff, supported them. At the end of the day, the relationship's only as strong as the weakest person in it. You need to write that down and get it. The relationship's only as strong as the weakest person in it. The relationship's only as strong as the weakest person in it, because that's the level of resolve. If you can only resolve as far as the weakest person in it. That's as far as the resolve will go. There is no resolve beyond that. And some people will only go that far and then that's it. You're at the mercy of whatever's happening after that. And these people don't care because they don't see beyond themselves. They push you to the limit. Are we going to hit that rock? Gee, that was close. There's a train. They're going to push you to the limit. You better believe it. At that point, when you begin to feel or sense stress, that's your red flag by which you detach until you see, and keep detaching until you see the person having the value for the relationship to get shit in order. If they're not getting shit in order, then they're turning it on you. Believe me, there's something wrong in the background that you don't know about. They're not being transparent, but you're not worth enough to them to fix things. I'm sorry, but this is how you get your discerning skills up. So as soon as there is a need for the resolve and they're not resolving it, immediately you detach. Because unresolved is the first sign to the beginning of the end. Unresolved is going to put pressure on the relationship that could cause the other person to look for somebody else. That's unresolved. That's how it works. That's how unresolved works. And it's sad, because at the beginning of a relationship, they'll come running over. Oh, what's wrong? How can I fix it? Right? But as the relationship wears on, and it's like you're trying to teach a child what a real relationship's about, which at this point you should be saying to yourself, uh-oh, it's not my job to teach an adult how to have a relationship, which is proof that you're with the wrong person. This ain't going to change. These people have been with men that have been unable to show them what true masculinity is about. Making right decisions against the grain. Making right decisions despite yourself. Going without to get ahead, like really going without, not pretending, going without to get ahead. No, these women haven't had men like this. They've had wasteful, horrible, compulsive, addicted, nicotine smoking, dirty old males that don't look after their teeth. Their breath stinks of alcohol. They'll take whatever weed and shit they can get into their system. They're immoral and depraved. They cuck their wives. And everybody ends up, well, by the time they're finished, with nothing. For what? For the deceitfulness of lust. So enjoy your lust, because that's all you're going to get out of it. 5 minutes of glory. Huh. Ha. So sad. So sad. And in the meantime, we might hear birds down here. In the meantime, other people are sacrificing, they're being intimate, they're communicating, they've got timing, they're regulated, there's no drugs, there's no alcohol, the sex is good, healthy, they're getting to bed on time, they're getting lots of sleep, everything's calibrated mentally, psychologically, emotionally, spiritually calibrated. That is what a lot of these people haven't experienced. That is where the power is. They sacrifice to get possessions to leave for an inheritance for their children and their children's children, which means they teach their children values and characteristics that are going to enable them to leave an inheritance for their children and their children's children, which proves that the way we domesticate and form our children, which is our responsibility, and we've only got a certain amount of time to do that in. After 18, you're done. You had your chance. If you've blown it, be honest with yourself. And deal with the mess. If you haven't, pat yourself on the back and say, thank God I represented the family name and my children in an admirable way. Because there's a lot of people that aren't. And you don't want to be one of them. So they're feeding the pelicans and the seagulls over here. It's not easy. A lot of people do the right thing by their children and they end up murderers and criminals. There's no answer for that. At the end of the day, once a child's 18, you've had your chance as a parent. I mean, at 18, they're well and truly formed into what they're going to be. If you haven't sorted it out by then, you got to let go anyway. And this is how serious parenting is. But it's all belly up, it's all ass up. And we can blame, we can make excuses. No. 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 A lot of mothers, narcissistic mothers, do get turned on by their children. Their children will turn on them. They get used for financial and food supply, a place to live. Let's just be real and honest about it. They weaken these adults to keep them reliant on them. The roll-on effect of that has no benefit to the child because the child's being abused. The adult child has been abused, indoctrinated, psychologically displaced by the parent. The danger that the parent's got, and this is what I was leading up to, is if the child cottons on to the fact that the parents deliberately, for their own gain, sabotaged the child's life, then a lot of these people murder their parents. The devastation is so big. They murder their parents. or they harm their parents. They poison them, they maim them, they bash them, and they take over the households, and the next thing, the parents subject to the child, the adult child, supplying them, feeding them, running after them like little husband and wives, surrogate relationship. And the parent allows it. That's the funny part about it. The parent actually allows it, as we get a view of the jelly blubbers going on in here. I've been on the end of this, given that I lost my first marriage to interference, and some areas where I could have improved. I'm not just going to blame everybody else. But I don't think my contribution to the loss of that marriage was worth the loss of the marriage, that's for sure. A lot of people enjoying the Australian sun and the high tide. I personally and honestly believe that outside interference is the main contributor to a lot of relationship breakups. I also believe that character flaws that appear after the love bombing stage of the relationship also contributes to the demise of the relationship as well. We all have a responsibility, one way or another, to be the best version of ourselves, as we look at the jelly blubbers again, there's a few here, as we possibly can. It's a daily effort that's worth it. You'll be rewarded. There you go, mate. Oh, yeah. You'll be rewarded beyond what you could ever imagine. Women have a way of responding positively to people that, and men, that are genuinely showing an effort. A few jelly blubbers here, guys. And just as we come past the fishermen, a bit of concentration required. People respond positively to effort that's attractive, as equally as they respond to behaviour that's destructive. Navigating a relationship is one of the most rewarding or punishing things we can do in life. I've always taken it with every piece of skill that I can muster. I mustn't be very good at it because it just doesn't seem to hold for me. And the fading attributes of a female are something that I just cannot tolerate. I cannot tolerate it. And again, you're at the mercy of the weakest link. That's all there is to it. As you see, all the jelly blubbers. There is thousands, literally thousands. I hope you've enjoyed this message this afternoon. I enjoy bringing you out with me as I train. There's a view of the jelly blubbers. There's a big one there. I appreciate you coming out into Gosford on the New South Wales Central Coast, Australia. Sometimes the repair of your relationship is standing there, getting in contact with the person and saying, look, I see and understand what happened. I just didn't get it right. But by this time, usually all trust is gone, all faith is gone, because you've seen the part of the person that you've been with that's able to sabotage the efforts, and that in itself can frighten away even the most stoic of men. Men just don't want to tolerate nonsense and harm, especially to their intimate relationship. And this is where the value of those things have just gone completely out the window. I mean, most of the women that I meet now just haven't got a clue. They have not got a clue, and I'm putting it down to the men that they've been with. I'm putting it down to the men that they've been with. They just haven't been a good subject of masculinity for the woman, and the woman's been left to become masculine herself. That's the paradox of it all. She's had to become the man. And I apologize to the women for these untrained men. I don't apologise to the women that I've been with, because I've already done that. I'm not going to keep fucking doing that, no. So, I hope you enjoyed that trip, viewers. I'll see if I can get up to that pelican for you before I go. I'll take this in. And we'll see if we can get a close view of the pelicans just before we go. We'll see. There he is over there. I'll get up close for you. See if we can, how close we can get. How you going, mate? That's it. Go for a walk, eh? That's it. So there he is. There's the big pelican. He's a bit scared because I got me pole. But there they are. No, they're gone. But there they are, viewers. Thank you for joining me, and bye for now.